The small intestine. Okay, so chyme gets squirted through the pyloric valve, also known as the pyloric sphincter of the stomach, into the duodenum. This is where pancreatic enzymes are secreted. And bile. Okay. The rest of the small intestine is the jejunum and the ileum. All right, the duodenum. This is where all the good stuff happens. Receives pancreatic enzymes and bile. Main pancreatic duct and common bile duct dump into the duodenum. And there's sphincters that control the entry of both. So here we go. The liver and the pancreas, accessory digestive organs. You have a main pancreatic duct and sphincter coming out of the pancreas. And you also have the bile duct and sphincter. The bile duct comes from your liver because your liver is producing bile. And the two meet up together. And this is called the hepatopancreatic ampulla. And everything gets squirted out. It's like the major duodenal papilla. Okay. So that's it. Don't worry about the tail, the pancreas, the head, the body of the pancreas. We don't care. There's just a pancreas. And a main pancreatic duct. Okay, pancreatic enzymes are being secreted. The bile duct is bringing bile from the liver. They merge into the hepatopancreatic ampulla and sphincter and get squirted out the major duodenal papilla. Yeah, there's an accessory pancreatic duct for a little entry of pancreatic enzymes elsewhere. The gallbladder is on the underside of the liver and it just stores bile. Uh-oh, here's an arrow. Yeah, bile and pancreatic juices dump in the duodenum through the same opening. In physiology, you'll know what's what. Bile is there because fats get emulsified and torn apart by bile. It helps the fats basically break apart. Pancreatic enzymes break down the fats and everything else. Okay, so there's some anatomical features of the small intestine that maximize absorption. And here it is. The small intestine, we looked at the histology of the alimentary canal and the small intestine. The small intestine has these transverse folds all the way through. The circular folds, called the plicae. Okay, circular folds. Right. Then, within the circular folds, if you look at these circular folds and look close, on the circular folds, there's all these like extensions coming out of the circular folds. They're called villi. Then the actual columnar epithelial cells have more little like rooster kind of chicken things sticking up called microvilli. So on the villi, and one of them is called a villus. We have microvilli. So these are basically the kind of the division. So we have the circular folds in the small intestine. Might be an ES for plural, IS, I don't know. Circular folds. Then we have villi next. Let's make sure I didn't put two L's when there shouldn't be. I bet you I did. No, that's screwed up. I wonder if that's a typo. Anyway, it is what it is. Okay, villi. And then on the villi, we have the individual epithelial cells, columnar. They have microvilli. The brush border. So the whole point of all this, folds upon folds upon folds, maximize surface area for absorption. Because that's the name of the game in the small intestine, is absorb it all. So that's why it's set up like this. Okay, so we can find some different types of cells along here. Okay, the main cell sucking everything up is called an absorptive enterocyte. So enterocytes suck everything up. Okay, there's goblet cells that secrete mucus. Enteroendocrine cells secrete hormones. And then there's intestinal crypts. You have these intestinal crypts that secrete intestinal juices out of the small intestine. So let's take a look at a side view. So here we go. Here's some villi. Let's blow it up and we'll look at a single villus. We see a cross section. Okay, so in this cross section, this little rooster gob will come. In the villus, you're going to have capillaries. There's capillary beds. So you're going to have a capillary network. Also in the villus is a special structure found in the small intestine, and that's the lacteal. Lacteal is a specialized lymphatic vessel found only in the small intestine. Absorbs fats. So fats are going to go into your lymphatic system. Everything else is going to go into your capillaries. Okay, so here we have different cells. What do we see? Absorptive enterocytes are the prime cell. Okay, we see little bulges here. That's a goblet cell, same as it ever was. Now on these intestinal crypts, sounds like Tales from the Crypt, Here we go. Intestinal crypts. Now we see some enteroendocrine cells. They just secrete hormones that do things in the small intestine. And there it is. Okay. And we see a lot of malt happening. Now, if we blow up the columnar cells and look, we see the microvilli, the brush border. So it's all about absorption. So this is what's happening in your small intestine. Intestinal villi right there. Okay, bam. Intestinal villi. Rotate it up. What am I pointing to right there, would you guess? What's my cursor on? Right here, right here.
Goblet cell?
Goblet cell, that's it. Bam, goblet cells. What kind of cell is my cursor on now?
Simple columnar epithelial.
We know that for sure. Good, good. But what's the special name for it in this case? It's an absorptive.
Enterocyte?
That's it. Absorptive cells. Enterocyte. Okay, it's an absorptive enterocyte. Okay. What's this dip right here? What is this called?
Intestinal crypt.
That's it, intestinal crypt. Now these green cells, we know that we have lit up in blue the absorptive enterocytes. We know those are goblet cells. So these must be enteroendocrine cells. This right here is going to be MALT, mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue. Now this right here, that's our capillaries running up into the villus. And what's this green structure's name? It's running into the villi. It's a special part of the lymphatic system that sucks up fats in the intestine.
Lacteal.
Lacteal, bam, there it is. Okay, so I already gave this to you. Did I assign this yet? No, but I will. So you can just look at this, and there you see the intestinal crypts, intestinal glands crypts. That's it. Cool. Okay, your colon. By the time things get to your colon, there's not much left. So you have some small amounts of digestion by bacteria. They're going to break down the bacteria in your colon. You have symbiotic ones, your microbiome, your enteric bacteria that are supposed to be there. Your bacteria are going to break down some indigestible substances. So you're feeding them some of that. In return, they're going to produce some vitamins for you, like vitamin K, stuff like that. The main function of the colon is suck up water and electrolytes. Failure to do so, diarrhea, which can be lethal. You can die from diarrhea. Okay, mass peristaltic movements move feces towards the rectum. Okay, so the large intestine subdivided into the cecum, the appendix, the colon, the rectum, the anal canal. So let's just look at all of it. So here we go. Ileocecal valve right here. Ileocecal valve. That's where the ileum from the small intestine is dumping in to your large intestine. So you are here. There you are. And you're coming on out of the ileum, part of the small intestine, through the ileocecal valve, boom, into the large intestine. Okay, there's an outfolding right here called the cecum. If you were a koala bear, you would have a very developed cecum because you'd be breaking down eucalyptus. You're a meat-eating primate, so your cecum's not very well developed. You'd be doing some fermentation right here. So here's cecum. Appendix is an immune system organ, so lymphoid organ. The appendix is full of bacteria. Symbiotic bacteria is full of immune cells. So the appendix frequently gets infected and loses the fight and has to be cut off. Okay, so appendix and cecum. Out the ileocecal valve from the ileum, we see the cecum, appendix. Now we're going to have the ascending colon, the transverse colon, the descending colon, the sigmoid colon, the rectum, anal canal. Here's your external anal sphincter, a skeletal muscle, the internal anal internal anal sphincter is in there. Okay, I don't care about right colic hepatic flexure, left colic splenic flexure. Okay, where the ascending colon bends into the transverse, we're over by the liver. So it's the hepatic flexure. Over here, we're by the spleen, so we have the splenic flexure. But whatever, that's just the bend. All right, so in your large intestine, you have this thickening of the longitudinal muscle. A thickening of the longitudinal muscle throughout the whole thing. So it's right here, this thickening of the longitudinal muscle on your large intestine has a name. It would be nice if it was called Bob, but it's called Tenea coli, unfortunately. So that's that extra thickening of the longitudinal muscle. Now what this does is it creates these puckerings called haustra, which sounds like a German rave. You're going to the haustra. A single one of them is a haustrum. And then there's epiploic appendages, little fat droplets, which are characteristic of the large intestine. That's the large intestine. We know what it does. We know where it is. And now we know the parts. Ascending, transverse, descending, rectum, anal canal. The Tenea coli, what is this produced by? What is the Tenea coli?
The muscle.
Yeah, it's thickening of the longitudinal muscle, which creates haustra. A single one of them is called a haustrum. The haustra. And there's some fat on their epiploic appendages. Cecum down here and appendix. A lymphoid organ, immune system. What does it do? Reclaim water. Okay, so right here is telling you about it. Here's everything. Right. Okay, vessels of the large intestine. This is weird. Okay. First half of the large intestine, superior mesenteric artery supplies blood. Distal half, inferior mesenteric artery. Okay, your small intestine. What would you guess supplies blood, arterial blood, to all of the small intestine? Which artery would you guess? What do you think, Casey? Which artery would supply arterial blood to the small intestine?
The inferior mesenteric artery.
Oh, you have 50-50 chance. You guess wrong. No. It's superior mesenteric artery. So inferior mesenteric artery, distal half of the large intestine, the end. Oh, let's not talk about the prairie dog in response. We don't care. Okay. You want to know about the nervous system and the prairie dog in response? No, you don't. All right. Cool. Nobody ever laughs when I talk about the prairie dog in response. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, the cells in there, colonocytes. Okay, we have some intestinal crypts again. Tales from the crypt. Colonocytes, what do? Suck up H2O and electrolytes. Okay, so here's a summary of everything. I'm not going to read this to you because you can read it. I will point out, nothing's really being absorbed in your stomach except for water can start going in your stomach. What gets sucked up in your stomach? A few fat-soluble substances. Aspirin will go in your stomach, and booze. Some drugs. Okay. What's happening in your small intestine? What's happening in your large intestine? Okay. Here's the whole picture. Oh gosh, all the different cells. Don't worry about any of the hormones or Paneth cells, any of that. So there we go. Here's the histology. Start off with stratified squamous, and we'll end with stratified squamous. Yeah, there's some special things happening in your stomach. The gastric pits, gastric glands. We have parietal cells, chief cells, enteroendocrine cells. Don't worry about the hormones, what they do. No one cares. Enterocytes, goblet cells, enteroendocrine cells. Colonocytes, goblet cells again. Start off with stratified squamous epithelium, move to simple columnar. What do we end with? What kind of epithelium out the end?
Stratified squamous.
There it is. Okay. Thank God. Okay, so we just look at the liver and the pancreas, and then we're out of here. The liver. Okay, it is the largest gland in your body. Does a ridiculous number of things. Its function is an accessory digestive organ is one thing. Production of bile, a green substance stored in the gallbladder that will emulsify fats so they can be sucked up into lacteals. Okay. What else does it do? We know that everything being sucked up in your villi and your capillaries, is that blood supply going straight into your circulatory system? No. It all has to go via the hepatic portal vein to be processed by the liver first. Here's the liver. It has a right lobe, It has a left lobe. It has the falciform ligament that's anchoring it up here to the diaphragm. There's a bare area of the liver. Okay, the round ligament, ligamentum teres, that's left over from the fetal umbilical vein. Here's the gallbladder hiding underneath. Okay, look at the back area. We have a couple other lobes. The caudate lobe of the liver and the quadrate lobe of the liver. I'm not sure if I left those on the list. They don't really make me that excited. Okay, the porta hepatis. It's a region right here where things are entering into the liver, including the hepatic portal vein. Okay, here's our gallbladder situated underneath. Okay, there we go. So, left lobe of the liver is small, right lobe's big. We have a bare area. Here's the porta hepatis. What moves into the porta hepatis are the hepatic arteries to supply the liver itself with oxygenated blood, and the hepatic portal vein is coming in from your intestines, your stomach, your spleen, everywhere, is feeding into the hepatic portal vein. What do we have? The gastric vein, the splenic vein, superior and inferior mesenteric veins all went into the formed the hepatic portal vein to get sent to the liver. It's going to branch into right and left portal veins. Okay, for the gallbladder, basically bile is being made in the liver and it's collected. It ends up going into right and left hepatic ducts and then moves into a common hepatic duct. And this is going to meet up with the pancreatic duct. There's a cystic duct though. When there's too much bile made, it backs up into the cystic duct and gets stored in the gallbladder. Right, so let's look at the microscopic anatomy of the liver. The fundamental unit in the liver is something called a lobule. So these little hexagons. At each corner of the hexagon, you have the portal triad. The portal triad has a bile duct, a portal venule, and a portal arteriole. Here's a portal vein coming in, branches of the hepatic portal vein. So that's going to move out to all the corners of the hexagon for all these different lobules. So these lobules are just stacked in the liver. So here's what's happening. We have stacked hepatocytes. So they're all stacked in the lobules. Portal blood is moving in. So we have each portal triad and the portal venule. Portal blood is going out into the hepatocytes. So we have plates of hepatocytes. Now, all throughout these lobules are sinusoids. So there's extremely leaky capillaries. So portal blood is moving in here and the hepatocytes are processing it, adjusting what exactly it was that you digested, that you sucked up. So as the portal blood moves through the liver sinusoids and the hepatocytes do their thing, it will collect. There's a central vein at the center of each lobule. You see it here, 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 here. The central veins all collect, and these interlobular veins, so in between the lobules, and those are going to run to the hepatic veins that drain the liver. The hepatic veins are not the hepatic portal veins. Okay, so arterial blood is in the portal triad too. That's just supplying the hepatocytes with oxygen, stuff like that, to do their thing. Now the hepatocytes are making bile. So we have these bile canaliculi that collect the bile, and they're going to flow out into bile ducts. So the bile ducts receive bile from the bile canaliculi, which are collecting bile from the hepatocytes. So that's what's happening in your liver. Portal triad at each corner has a bile duct, which is collecting bile from the bile canaliculi, because the hepatocytes make the bile. A portal venule, branches of the hepatic portal system, sending your blood that came from your digestive system in through the liver sinusoids to be processed by the hepatocytes. And portal arterioles are sending blood through the sinusoids to supply the hepatocytes with nutrition. Central veins collect processed blood from the hepatic portal system, and that feeds in to the inferior vena cava. So you have hepatic veins coming out of the liver. So the hepatic portal vein brings blood from your digestive system into the liver to get processed. The central veins collect the processed blood, and it all collects in interlobular veins and goes to hepatic veins and dumps in inferior vena cava. So hepatocyte, the functional cell of the liver, portal triad, there's the three. Running around in the sinusoids are hepatic macrophages. They're just immune cells. They're in the sinusoids. Okay, functions of hepatocytes. A retarded amount. Let's not memorize all that. Let's just think about digestion. They're making bile. I mean, you know your liver does detoxifications. Sugar gets stored there. Your liver can release sugar when you need it. And your hepatocytes regenerate themselves. You can cut off a large section of your liver, and your liver will actually regenerate itself. You'll get it back. Or you can pour tons of alcohol on it and you're not getting it back. And then you get portal hypertension and emergency anastomoses, raging hemorrhoids, esophageal bleeding, and veins sticking on out of your lower abdomen. Okay, the gallbladder stores and concentrates bile. All right, so we have the right and left hepatic ducts of the liver. These are coming in from all the different triads. Eventually, so we're going to go canaliculi. So hepatocytes make bile. So we're going to go hepatocytes. bile canaliculi. Spelled wrong. Canal, iculi. Okay. The heck? Okay, bile duct. And then the bile ducts at each portal triad will feed into right and left hepatic ducts. So those come together to form the common hepatic duct. And that's going to meet up with the main pancreatic duct. Bile and pancreatic enzymes mix. We have the hepatopancreatic ampullin sphincter and gets squirted out the major duodenal papilla. Now there is a cystic duct that connects to the gallbladder, and bile, when this closes off, okay, the sphincter on the common hepatic duct, then bile backs up, goes up the cystic duct and gets stored in the gallbladder. Or it can be stored there either way. We're reaching the very end here. The pancreas, exocrine and endocrine. Endocrine function, okay, regulates your blood sugar. Exocrine, most of the enzymes are going to break down your food are made by the pancreas. What happens if you get pancreatic cancer? What's the prognosis?
Bad, really
Yeah,
bad.
you're dead. Bye-bye. End of game. Okay, main pancreatic duct. Okay. All right, so let's see the exocrine function. Okay, let's see the pancreas. Do I want to talk about this? Acinar cells? No, I don't. There's just the cells in there, acinar cells, and they make all your digestive enzymes. You have these little granules that get secreted, and it all feeds into ducts, into the big duct. You're here, so you know that we don't need to worry about acinine cells because they're acinar cells. Bye, 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 bye. Okay. Don't care. Good. The end. Thank God. Okay. Well, can you all see that pretty well? Okay. So we have our pancreas. Let's hide something. Okay. Name that structure. Running out of the pancreas. It looks like the main one. The main.
Pancreatic duct.
Boom, there it is. Okay. Okay. What do you call this little hot pocket right here on your colon? What's this?
Obstra.
A house. So, yeah. So we have a whole bunch of them are called haustra, a German grave. What's this little strip called right here?
That is a really funky name.
Yeah.
So,
It's an E. coli. Here we go. Hypoptony of transverse colon. Oh my God, what kind of name is that? Just go with the name on the list. That's just garbage. So too complicated. There it is. So that's formed by thickening of the longitudinal layer. Anyway, this part of the colon right here is called what? This part of your large intestine?
Transverse.
Transverse, beautiful. Can you name the mesentery that would be attached to the transverse colon?
Greater omentum.
Ooh. Yes, it is. It is. There's also the transverse mesocolon. Yeah, that's true though. The greater omentum's there too. Greater curvature of the stomach. See, I cut the stomach out, so we're at a loss here. Okay, let's get rid of this. Transverse colon, bye-bye. Oh, that took the whole colon out. Oh no, just transverse. Where's the duodenum? Maybe it went with the stomach. Let me do something here. Let's get rid of all this muscle. Serves no purpose. Let's get rid of the bone too. Sweet, we have it. Which salivary gland is this?
Parotid.
Yep, what about that?
Sublingual.
Submandibular. That would be sublingual. Okay. Right. Here's our stomach. Okay. Well, we have a ligament right here on the liver, falciform ligament. Is this the left lobe or the right lobe of the liver?
The left.
Yep. Bam, right lobe. Okay. What's this little green sac right there?
Gallbladder.
For sure. Is that something interesting? No, it's some stupid ligament. Okay. Right, here we go. Oh, this is kind of cool. What's that? Bile duct. That's weird. Why is it running through the pancreas? Okay, it is. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so this should be our duodenum right there. There we go. So it went away with the stomach. Yeah, it's not showing any structures, unfortunately. Okay. Rather limited. Okay, what's this little structure right here?
Appendix.
Yep. This part of the large intestine is called what?
The cecum.
Yep, exactly, the cecum. Bam, cecum right there. Okay, ascending colon. Cecum anterior cap, ignore that. Ascending colon. Okay, here's our greater omentum right there. We'll hide it. Okay, so that's the left colic flexure is not even tagged. Good. Okay. Descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, anal canal, internal anal sphincter. It's not too terribly bad. The digestive system. I mean, it's a lot. Let me touch the liver here and see if we can isolate the liver. Okay, we have it isolated. Unfortunately, I took away the hepatic portal system. It's not letting me do any venous, so I can't put the hepatic portal vein in there. This is the porta hepatis though, right there. So we'd have the hepatic portal vein running in there and hepatic artery. See if we can do anything on here. Right lobe of liver, nothing. So it sucks. Okay. So by let's look at the other program real quick and see what we can get. The anatomy. Okay. No, we have alveolar sacs. Okay. Systems. Okay, we have the greater omentum, hide it. So same thing, appendix, cecum, transverse colon, tinea coli, ascending colon, ileum, jejunum. Okay, so we can look at the stomach. This is not as friendly as the other program for getting to things. But here we see the rugae of mucosa. Okay, stomach serosa mucosa. Okay, oblique layer. You get rid of these bones. So we can see the oblique layer of the stomach, the circular layer, and the longitudinal layer. That's about as good as we'll get for the stomach. So the longitudinal, the circular, and the oblique. These are the rugae of mucosa, and you know this is a pyloric region. This is the body and the fundus. So play around, and you know that the cardiac sphincter is in here. Uh-oh, it snagged it. Cardiac sphincter, we have it. This should be the fundus right there. It's not showing that though. See if we can get out the liver. Yeah, not a whole lot. And what's unfortunate is it's not showing it's a big mess. You have the vena cava there, but we'd have to dig at it to find it. Well, there's the lesser omentum. That's kind of cool. There's the hepatic portal vein. Got it. So we have the cystic duct for the gallbladder, the common hepatic duct, common bile duct. So common hepatic duct, then there's going to be right and left hepatic ducts up there, and the common bile duct. Hepatic portal vein. So on this visible body, you are able to find some structures that are, they're there.